Hi, Inez Simpson here, creator of the Simpson Protocol, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about our 4-day training. Now, the 4-day training encompasses two things. First 2 days is basics. Basics on what Simpson Protocol is, how to do it, and practice it so that you get comfortable with it. Then the day 3 and day 4 take it much further, and they take you through different aspects of using it. So in the advanced, what we call the advanced training, is working with surrogacy, be it people or animals, spiritual work, direct spiritual, also pro-health. So it's for people who are creating their own health and getting better instead of just waiting till they have a medical issue. Then we also have a workshop. It's a self-hypnosis workshop that I do here, and I outline the whole thing. And so 1 or 2 days, which you prefer. I always do a 2-day, and I like to keep it at a certain amount of people, 8, 10 people, and so that I teach them this. People come to check you out on self-hypnosis workshops. They come to see if you're good. They're the best marketing tool ever. So talking of why we call it advanced self-hypnosis, because we're not just taking them to somnambulism or light hypnosis. We are teaching them to go as deep as they can go, preferably all the way to Esdale, and higher with guidance, and we're doing healing levels, all kinds of things like that. So it's called hypnosis, self-hypnosis on steroids. Because it's so simple, they can do it all by themselves. Usually by the first session you've taught someone, they have the self-hypnosis. Now, 99% of the time. So, but when you're doing a self-hypnosis workshop, people who aren't really sure about hypnosis, they'll come to you and they'll take the workshop. You get paid for it. It's wonderful. So it's a great thing. Anyway, what else do we do on the 2 days? Let's see. Well, we've added in a little tidbit this time, and it's called pre- and post-operative work. So it's specific things that you need to do with a pre-operative person for their healing and for their making sure that they can handle the talk, the medical talk, all the other things that create havoc and anxiety. So you get them as mostly relaxed, and with SP you can do anything. You can remove their fears all the way through and then promote. Then you start to build the healing levels and all the other things. So it's a very proactive program. Now we're also designing a medical program, and that won't be on the 4-day because it's a little bit too, I think by the time you've got the other things, you'll understand the medical program. We have a birthing program, and it's a standalone 2-day training normally, so you can just take it online most of the time because it doesn't get taught live that much because it's such a particular kind of hypnosis. We're also starting to, with Kaz Riley from the UK, I'm designing an SP sexual program. Now, we're not just talking, we can handle regular SP, handles most things. But what each one does is give you extra knowing of how to ask the questions, and maybe for the LGBT community, kink friendly, God knows, I don't know, Kaz and I haven't even really finished putting it together. We barely started. So that's coming down the pike. But there's always going to be something coming down the pike because you ask for it, and sometimes you ask for specific questions. And that's the job of me. I get somebody who's very expert at that situation in hypnosis, and then we design it around it in the SP philosophy, the SP way, to make it easy. So know that then in the 4-day, we're not going to be doing those heavy duty ones, and what's driven by in the 4-day is what the people, the students in the class really want. The surrogacy is always big. The spiritual is always big. But from there we have a little opening. Sometimes we have a room for a little experimentation. May even get to go to Secourt. So for those of you who are brand new and are usually just thinking of this smoking cessation, weight release, things like that, SP works wonderful for that, and you don't need much of a direction. With the smoking, it's so easy that when you start to understand how to adjust to what you used to do, you can also add it in. So weight loss is always a big deal too, and I think the framework for that is in process of being made. But even, I mean, I've done weight loss for people and just use plain SP because then it's so free. But if you like the framework, that'll be coming around. So what is SP? I'll tell you what SP is. It started back in about 2004, 2005. I started experimenting and I came back. I was from a regression to cause background. So it was a lot of forgiveness work, inner child work, all this sort of things. So as I started working, I found that many, especially men, didn't want to tell me all the things in their regression. They didn't want to do stuff, talk about it very much. So I started experimenting with just guiding them through the scenarios they had to do without me knowing what was happening. And it worked fine. So I just kept going and going. And pretty soon it came to be what was called working in Esdale and beyond, because we were taking people to very deep states at the time. And then we'd go to what we call high. And high is sort of using what we call your superconscious and your higher mind so that everything is decided by the client's mind, which takes total judgment out of it for you, makes it very easy. And they get a very holistic program. It covers everything from very medical issues to all questions and also metaphysical questions and the whole spectrum of questions. So when clients come to me, they'll say, you know, what do I need to do? I give them the pre-talk and I said, the only thing I ask is that you're open to possibility. Because if you're open to possibility, your mind will answer the questions. Doesn't matter, I'm not telling you to change your beliefs, I'm not changing anything. I'm just putting in questions that some people believe in. And it's a very holistic approach. Now the interesting thing about that is when clients come in, a lot of times they're first-time clients. They don't know this is any different. They just think this is hypnosis. And I don't tell them any different because it is hypnosis. When I first started, I thought, well, maybe it's sort of an advanced hypnosis, but even that is not a right term. What it is very holistic because I think of everything that I can possibly think of to ask, plus you do. Hopefully ask your own questions, and takes our judgment out of it. We don't have to decide anything. It's all about the mind saying, yes, this works, yes, I need that, and doing it. That's it. Very holistically done and very simply, without judgment, only guidance. And many of you might be NLP practitioners, or but semantics are important. You know, you're not going to say, well, what size is it? Things like that. I mean, you wouldn't say that because now that pretty well says that thing has a size. So anyway, that's just minor. But the semantics are very important. And I've also adjusted the Elman induction. Now the Elman induction was made back in the 50s or 60s. I'm not sure exactly when it was. And it was phenomenal because he had thought out the process to make someone go to somnambulism on purpose. And it covered all those depths, and it was and gave you the information all the way through. The only thing that hadn't been done yet was that in the 1950s and 60s, they said only 50% of the people are hypnotizable. Well, which wasn't true. It just wasn't, we weren't knowing how to do it. So I changed the semantics of the Elman induction, and it's very short because Elman said never take the Elman induction over 4 minutes. I think mine's about 2 minutes. And so I always say it different. It's just a process. You know how to say it after a while, and you know why it works. Now, any hypnotist can use any induction as long as they know where the client is, and we'll teach you all that if you don't already know it. So I don't want to get too far into it, down the rabbit hole and telling you everything that you need to know. That's going to take 4 days to teach you. But ultimately, it's very simple. And it's very holistic, and it's very encompassing. It's made so there's your judgments out of it, and that the client gets the best without having to tell you everything, without having to relive everything, accept what their mind gives them. It's always their choice. It's by total choice, the whole thing. Anyway, that's it for that. I think I'll end that there because I could go back down my rabbit hole. So what else is there to know about SP? It's just that. It's very simple, and you can use it for anything. One of the teachers that teaches in Holland, she says, SP is like a canvas, and it lets you build your own art.